Hello, my name is Dustin, and today I'm going to talk about foraging, or the act of venturing out into nature and first searching for, and then harvesting wild plants or fungi for sustenance. To put such a succinct definition onto such a broad idea that has not only been ingrained in our humanity as humans for hundreds of years, if not thousands, and has grown into an extremely vibrant community of people in modern day times, would be a detriment to the cultures before us and to those who currently indulge in this age-old practice. But still, I feel there's a lot more to talk about than just why it's important. First of all, why would foraging be considered interesting? It's something that's extremely engaging. It can take an entire lifetime to fully learn and experience all of its different outdoor experiences and learn all the knowledge that comes from doing it. It's unique and carries more values and lessons than any book on it or about anything else ever could. It's a very broad topic, and I feel extremely strongly about that. But something particular that comes from it is stepping out into the wilderness and experiencing the thoughtfulness and the tranquility that comes from just going on a hunt and looking for something, bettering yourself, and becoming a bit self-sustaining while you're at it. It allows us to become closer to our past, humans and civilizations and ourselves, because it gives us time to reflect and benefits us with tranquil nature effects, and it's one of the best hobbies you could possibly have in the Midwestern United States. It is vibrant, it is everywhere. You can find hundreds of different plants. Almost anything you can think of can be eaten in some spot or some way, but I'll explain that now. How do you forage? That's another big topic that comes from this, and that is, first you must identify what you're looking for. You need to look for specific identifiers such as leaf shape, color of the plant. You have to know if there's anything that is like a mimic of it that would be a distractor or a toxic counterpart. Then you need to find out where and when to gather the plant, because even if the plant could be safe for consumption or harvest, you need to know if you're doing it at the right time of the year so that it is fully grown and is the healthiest for you to use. You also need to know how to gather it, and this involves a lot of different tools and prior knowledge, such as a shovel, taking a backpack. Some of that knowledge could even come from a book or internet research. All of these are extremely important, and they come into play a lot when it comes to foraging. In practice, it's simple, but it's setting out a goal, going out into nature, searching for something, and then bringing it back and eating it. But the process generally follows a premise of search, harvest, and then use. This is the general idea that it follows throughout the entirety of foraging. You're always looking for something, trying to obtain it in the best way possible, and then use it. But then you need to find out how to eat it. And eating it is a tricky process. It can come with, you first have to clean the thing that you've obtained. You also need to know which parts are good and which parts are bad, and you trim off the bad parts and you keep the good parts. You also need to know that some different plants require the toxin in it to be cooked out, and then it can be used with no harm. Nettles, for example, are something that need to either be dried or boiled to get rid of the sting on the nettle. Other plants sometimes do not need to be cooked at all and can just be chilled or used directly either in cooking or a salad. But you also need to know that when you're out there in the woods harvesting, you need to do it sustainably. You need to have future harvests in mind. You always need to be thinking about the future, and one of the best prime examples here in Michigan is wild leeks. They're a somewhat endangered foraged plant. They're one of the top 3 forageable plants in the Midwest, along with morel mushrooms and wild garlic. They are very over-harvest, and they take over 4 years to fully germinate a new plant. So when you find a patch, you only want to take roughly an eighth. That is the maximum you should ever take from a patch of wild leek, and that's just one example of thinking about future harvests, and it's just an important practice to keep in mind. In summation, I wanted to just recap all of the things that I've said about identifying when and where to gather, how to gather, and then how to use and eat your forageable. That is the full process put together. But I also want to mention the foraging is something that many people consider to be extremely special and unique. It brings thoughts and feelings of tranquility, and they're very engaging, and it is an encompassing hobby, one that does not let most people down. It has a very broad history, and it will allow you to fully indulge in the art, and you can get distracted by it for hours at a time. You become more self-sustaining, and you just overall get to use things like burdock, wild garlic, wild onion, many different plants that are all very useful and healthy for your body. But fully overall, you get a lot of knowledge and a great experience. Overall, I've hoped that you've learned something new and enjoyed what I've presented today.